it's a difficult thing that when you ask someone to
Mm,
rate their happiness, that's a challenge, man. But I think, yeah, to strive to be content and to be happy and to live inside a happy, healthy brain and mind, all that stuff that we get into. So many things you have to do to achieve that. And like you said, one of the main reasons it's a difficult New Year's resolution is because it is a constant in your life. You will
mm.
never achieve it. It's not something you'll sit in 6 months and go, I've achieved happiness. Like, we're not on
Done now.
Kung Fu Panda. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is real life. That's just not going to happen. So, like, what are the things you can do to make
Mm,
sure you give yourself the best chance to be happy more often than not? Because there are going to be
mm.
days, weeks, and months that you're struggling, man.
Hello and welcome back to formerly AYP Spike, but now one brain at a time. Our new, well, same show but rebranded because we are here to save the world. One brain at a time. I'm your host Adam Wright, and I'm here with my fantastic colleague, as always, Mr. Andy Feist. How are you, Andy?
I'm very good, my man. I am right as rain. I've got my pajamas on because we can now work from home on Mondays and Fridays, which
And
is nice.
officially, we are recording this on Monday, not Friday. So this is,
I
you know,
know.
this is recorded this morning. If you're listening to this, if you're a keen bean, if you're listening to this on a Monday
Yes,
when it comes out, this was recorded this morning. So we're both
for
very
sure.
knackered. And it is the
Yeah, I
first.
wonder how this changes the vibe of how we deliver, man. I really do. But there we go, man. No, I'm happy to be here as always. It's snowy outside
Oh, it's so snowy,
where I am.
frosty.
It's proper about 2 inches, 3 inches of snow this morning.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, man, it's been a bit carnage hearing cars drift out of the
Yeah,
estate
yeah.
this morning. So no, everything seems to be all right. But man, yeah, happy to be here. Christmas is done. 2026, here we are. Let's roll on. Let's do it.
Fantastic. Yeah, how was your Christmas before we get too much? I know you were at Spurs yesterday and that didn't go too well, bless you.
Oh
But
man, alive. Yeah. No, Christmas was beautiful, man. Yeah, Christmas was really nice. Just nice family time. Like,
yeah.
um, I did find, when we've done the Christmas episode, a big thing is expectations and if it lives up to it. And right or wrong, my expectations were managed, and
Good.
and that helped, man. And I,
Yeah.
because of that, I genuinely feel like it was one of my top Christmases, man. I had such a nice
Top
time, and
Christmas. Yes.
yeah, man, top Christmas, and it didn't have to, crash bang wallop. It was just nice to just sit on the sofa eating quality streets for about
I mean,
10 days. So
that is the dream, isn't it? That is the dream. Although
too right, man.
I've been basically the same, and it's like I decided this like yeah last night. I was like, this is the last time I'm snacking. This is because I've just been like I'm normally pretty good on obviously have chocolate, have sweets. That's not a bad thing to do. But
Yeah,
I've just been snacking all the time. And I'm like, I had to just draw a line under the snacking now because I'm like eating normal food, and I'm just like 3 packets of crisps. Let's go. That's like let's lower that.
that's like
Let's
me at
lower that.
uni, man.
Exactly.
Eating 6 packs of crisps in the morning. Like, what is that, man? What is life,
Exactly.
bro? But that, yeah. How was yours, mate?
It was lovely, really, really nice. Same as you. We started a new Christmas tradition this year. We do park run, classic. My family
Beautiful.
thing to do on
Classic.
Christmas
The
Day.
rights.
Freezing cold
Oh,
Christmas morning. But it was there's something very satisfying about doing a run when it is either like tipping it down or
yes.
properly cold because you're like, you know what, I did it. I did a
I
difficult
feel like
thing.
the satisfaction
Um,
level,
100%.
it goes up even more, when that
Exactly right.
happens.
Exactly right. But
Um,
yeah. No, it was very lovely, very very good. Happy.
good man.
I'm excited to get back into the routine of everything now because although it's been fantastic, but it's all been very. It's not life, is it? It's weird. Everyone's
Yeah,
off.
for
Sure,
sure.
stores aren't really open. Like when
Mm,
do we like? It's like what Monday. Everything is normal again today, so that's quite nice.
for
Quite
sure.
nice to get
Back
started
up and
properly.
running, man.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
speaking
no,
of like new
exactly.
beginnings, that leads us fantastically well into our topic for today's episode, which is New Year's resolutions. Um, I was shocked to know only about 19% of people actually set New Year's resolutions, which I feel like is quite a lot smaller
Wow,
than I thought it would be, because I feel like we always have a conversation about New Year's resolutions. But then I guess the
for
conversation
sure.
normally goes, do you have any? No. So maybe that's the 19%. But yeah, do you have any New Year's resolutions, Andy?
I've all, and we'll get onto this, won't we? I always do. I've always got things I want to improve on and change and grow and all those shenanigans. But I think specific New Year's resolutions, yeah, maybe I fall into that you know, 70, I can't do the maths, 71%, 79%, 71% of people that
One of it. One of the two.
it's one of them, innit? It's one of them, innit? It's early on Monday. Leave me alone, everyone. It's so I think I fall into the category that probably don't have specific New Year's resolutions. I can
Right.
tell you definitely now the things I want to improve on, 100%.
Mm.
I don't think I put constraints on it in terms of I want to do this in 26 that I didn't do in 25. It's I want to do this week that I didn't do last week.
Sure.
More
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that
So
sort
it's
of
not
realm,
like
really.
a lofty like, ooh, I wouldn't do this. I want to. It's more like this week I want to work on this kind of thing.
We'll always have like generic general things that we'll get onto, like that most people do. Like we
Mm.
said, like 90% of people's are fitness related or diet related. And I think I fall into that definitely. I want to change the way I work out. I want to change the way I eat to some extent. And
Mm.
I never won't want to, I never won't feel like that, I think. But I'll go with my brother and one of his good pals to the footy, and he's like, his geezer. They both do marathons, and the fellow we went with does high rocks, and he's just an absolute freak of nature, man.
High
The
Rocks
geezer is,
is nuts, man. High Rocks
and
is
he's like
crazy.
13 in Britain. Like he's just an absolute, like he's going to Las
Wow.
Vegas to do it. Like he gets,
Fair play.
he's serious, man. He does marathons every year, Brighton and London, and he's done some abroad. He done his Brighton marathon in 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Whoa. See, that's
Like
proper
he's a
time. That is.
flies, mate.
That's
Like
crazy.
he's
Yeah.
a joke. So well, I went up with them on a train yesterday, and it's an awful moment of self reflection when you're hearing them talk about their training plans, and they'll get up at like 5:30 in the
Yeah.
morning
Yeah. Yeah.
Saturday
Yeah.
and do like half marathons, just smash it
Oh.
out. Thank you very much. And I'm just sat there like, all right, New Year's resolution. I'm gonna like on Saturday. I'm gonna go and join them, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna go do a little 5K or something, and
Oh,
just
lovely.
he's got a coffee shop and all, so I'll go and have a coffee. It is, and that'll be nice, man. So,
Oh, amazing.
he very quickly was like, "I know how I'm going to get you to come and join us, man. We'll go and get a coffee and a croissant after." You know what I mean?
Exactly. Fantastic. He's got your number, man. That's
He
so
does,
funny.
mate.
Also, I
He's
would
got the
say going
measures.
for a run and a croissant is probably more entertaining than Spurs right now. So
Oh
better way
man.
of socializing. But yes.
Oh, it
So
was saved. It was saved by the company yesterday, man. It was
yeah,
so
I'm
nice to
sure.
see my brother
I'm
and his
sure.
mate. But like the actual football was just
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
horrible.
That's
Spurs' New Year's resolution: stop being so rubbish. How about that?
become better. Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
yeah.
I think that we could do like a little news resolution setup thing for Spurs. But I
Good,
think
huh?
that part of the point of this episode here, and I would say actually your news resolutions and the kind of way that you talk about it being smaller goals and like these kind of things is a fantastically like neuroscience approved way of doing news resolutions, because one of the things that we're going to talk about today, the main thing we're talking about today, is like why everyone kind of breaks their New Year's resolutions or quits them if you set a New Year's resolution. And the main reason we're going to break it up into a couple of categories, and kind of why the neuroscience and the brain science explains why these kind of tactics, why we can fail New Year's resolutions, but also how we can kind of understand how our brain works and build those positive habits that will last for longer, so that you actually will stick to it, and you'll stick to it beyond the year and stuff like that. So one of the main problems with New Year's resolutions is kind of people's, I'm going to call it the size problem. People set a mad goal and they're like, I am going to, be happier. I'm going to, all these mad, like just large, substantial goals, and they put it on quite a small timeline, and they
Normally
don't,
pretty
aren't,
large changing things, isn't it? Like be
it's
happier
massive
is
changes. Normally they're expecting to see results within a few weeks, and there's not a lot of specificity to the goal itself, if that makes sense. So we're going to break it up into a couple of those
100%.
different categories and explain why your brain, it will help your brain to better achieve the goal, how your habit formation actually works in the brain, and how you can stick to a resolution. So the main one is like specificity in terms of size,
Yeah.
right? So let's go back to that one we talked about a second ago. Be happier. Why is be happier not a very good resolution? Even though, like, obviously, I want you to be happier as you as a person, but
So
everyone
do I.
listening, I want to be happier. Like, I'm fairly happy, but you always want to be happier and strive and achieve happiness. But so why is be happier not a very good resolution though?
It's it's such an abstract thing anyway. Happiness, isn't it? Not to get too, and that's not the reason you asked me that question. But like, it is
I
an
like it.
abstract it is abstract, isn't it? It's something
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, like you said, what does that look like? How do you manifest happiness?
exactly.
How do you make sure that 70-30 you are happy? And I think that's those sorts of if you're trying to quantify it in any sort of way is a difficult, challenging thing. That's what we try and do with the W scale rating of well-being that we use. But like, it's a difficult thing that when you ask someone to
Mm,
rate their happiness, that's a challenge, man. But I think, yeah, to strive for to be content and to be happy and to live inside a happy, healthy brain and mind, all that stuff that we get into. So many things you have to do to achieve that. And like you said, one of the main reasons it's a difficult New Year's resolution is because it is a constant in your life. You will
mm.
never achieve it. It's not something you'll sit in 6 months and go, I've achieved happiness. Like, we're not on
Done now.
Kung Fu Panda. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is real life. That's just not going to happen. So, right, what are the things you can do to make sure you give yourself the best chance to be happy more often than not? Because there are going to be days, weeks, and months that you're struggling, man. I think just to be happy is something we all strive for. We all want to constantly achieve it. But yes, without implementing certain strategies and mechanisms to achieve something looking like that, that's where we need to go before we can
For
just
sure.
jump to let's just be happy, innit?
Exactly. And I think that it's important to say, like, I don't think that's necessarily a terrible like resolution. To be happier is kind of the goal. I would say
Lovely
be
thing.
happier is probably undergirding most of the resolutions people set, but it's not necessarily
Yeah.
the main target. The problem with it is it's a fluid thing, and also
Yeah.
doesn't account for the fact that there are certain things you can control in your life, right? Like your routines,
Yeah.
your habits. But there are certain things you can't control in your life, which
100%.
will have a profound impact on your happiness going forward. So, like, it can feel like a failure if you've set a goal to be happier. You're doing a good job for the first couple months of, doing your exercise routine or whatever it is, and then something really terrible happens in your, your relationship or your family life, and then
For
the
sure.
goal's gone because something out of your
Yeah.
control happened. So, I think that's one of the reasons it's a bit of a. Yeah, you can be more specific. So, and also, if you're going to set a goal like that, let's just be more specific about what it is. Like, okay, so you are to be happier. Are we maybe quite an anxious person? Okay, that's fine. We can work on anxiety. We can work on our
For
responses and
sure.
our reactions to anxiety, to fear, to that kind of stuff. We can work on that stuff, but you almost need to know a lot more about what the goal is you want to get to, because having it be happier, you never, as you brilliantly said, like, you're never going to be at a point where you just are done. Oh, I'm done being happy now. I'm going to go and my New Year's resolution is to be sad next year. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
not. Happiness is an ongoing mission, an ongoing project. So the main thing with your resolutions, and the thing about resolutions is they're not set in stone. Like, and you can change it. You can update it as it goes. So if you've set something along the lines of be happier, because I remember when I was like 13, 14, I set a goal to be more confident, which is like, cool, well done, mate. How am I going to do that? This is
I like that.
okay,
Like,
and now I'm confident. It doesn't work like that.
2014, 2013, 2014. Adam, I like the idea that on the 31st of December, you're just very nicely, quietly reserved and introverted. And then as soon as 1st of Jan comes, he's bowling
Popping
around the
off.
room, he's giving it, and I just like that idea, mate.
That was. I mean, if that didn't describe that exact what happened, then I don't know what did. Exactly, but that's the point, right? It's just like, I'm going to set this lofty goal and do nothing to work towards it. It's like, because I'm just going to
It's
convince
just
it to
going to
happen to
happen,
me.
man.
But I guess the point is that, like, if you've set a resolution, the first couple of days you're going to have loads of motivation to do it, right?
Yeah,
Depending on whatever the resolution is, you'll probably, if you've set one on the first, you're probably still doing it today on the 5th, right? Or the 6th, or whenever you listen to this episode, you're probably still on it, because that's like, there's a certain level of, like, I'm going to give it 2 weeks at least, like, I'm going to try it for 2 weeks. But then as soon as things start to become difficult, as more of because it's like Christmas and that time after is a bit fantasy land, because nothing's quite normal. Shops aren't opening at the same time, like we said earlier. Like, it's all a bit different. So now kind of the rubber meets the road of a resolution now, as life
yeah.
returns to normal, your routine returns, and it's the worst time of the year in terms of the darkness, the weather. It's just terrible, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's like,
Yeah.
if a resolution is going to really struggle to get through January, the number one thing with your goal, this is like a top tip to setting good New Year's resolutions you're going to stick to. Make it specific. Okay, let's set a specific target that we can get to. Okay, so running a marathon is a good target. For example, it's a big goal, but you can get to it because it's very specific. It's a literal distance of the thing, right? Be happier is not a great target, because what does that mean? Same, but we can break it up into smaller
for
goals.
sure.
The other thing I want to talk about, the other things I want to talk about is breaking it up, right? So let's do marathon. I mean, that's my cup of tea right there, sorted. So let's say you're not a runner at all. If you're expecting to do a marathon within a few months, being not a runner at all, I think you need to change your expectation. Not saying you can't get to doing a marathon, but within 2 or 3 months, you're going to have to do a lot of work to get to that point because it's just a lot of
100%.
distance. It's a lot of
That's 3-4 runs a week easily.
exactly,
But yes, the point you're trying to make in it is the plan. It's the plan, and what better way to summarize it in training plans? That's literally what it is. It's what are you going to do to get to that lofty goal that you set yourself?
exactly.
What are you
So you've
going to
got
do
to
to
break it
form that
up.
habit?
Exactly, form that habit. And to form that habit, you've got to break it up into smaller tasks, right? So it's just like, okay, so marathon in, let's say, April, right? That's 4 months away. We need to be running at least 3 times a week by the end of January. If you're not running at all right now, okay, start with 2 runs twice a week. Couch to 5K is a fantastic resource to use for that. Like,
Perfect.
just got to break it up into smaller goals. And instead of then thinking about the end goal, think about this week's goal, next week's goal, the month's goal. Break it up into those smaller tasks. So, like people who set a reading target for the year, like my target is 15 books this year. I'm not thinking about the 15th book. I need to read this
Very
first
nice.
one, right now.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you've got to break the target up into smaller goals and build the habit.
Like
Okay.
it.
And okay, that's about habits because this is obviously the main thing, right? It's not people's like motivation that changes their lives. It's their habits they build. Okay. And if you build positive habits, you will be a more happy and more successful person just because of, like for example, if you do the 12 rocks of well-being every day, you will have more mental bandwidth to deal with things. You'll be like focusing on things more. You'll have more ability and more flexibility in everyday life. No matter what life is throwing at you, you will kind of be a better version of yourself every single day if you do those 12 behaviors every single day, those positive habits every single day. So in terms of forming habits, if you think about this morning, do you remember brushing your teeth this morning? Like, do you really remember it? Probably not, right? I know I brushed my teeth this morning. I don't remember all the details of it because it's something I do every single day. It's because your brain does it on autopilot. When you've fired a set of neural architecture so much, your brain does it so automatically that it doesn't then focus on it when you're doing it that new time. On the inverse, when you're doing something for the first time, it's going to be very difficult because your brain's never done it before, So back to the running resolution, back to the marathon one. If you're not running at all, that first run is not only going to be very physically difficult, it's going to be very mentally difficult. And because you're moving your body in a way you haven't moved it in a long time or ever or whatever. That's obviously, a run is very physically exhausting, but mentally, like, that's a lot of effort to motivate yourself to go out and continue doing that, especially in the weather we're having, the freezing cold temperature, the darkness, or whenever it is. But also like the motivation to go and do it again when you're aching 2 days later. And it's like, so what you need to do is you need to form that into a habit, and you just need to keep doing it. That's what you have to do. And the easiest way to do that is to do it at the same time and the same couple of days, or like on the same kind of increments every few days. So if we're doing a run habit, right, we're going to run Mondays, we're going to run Thursdays, and we're going to do that for the first 3 weeks. And we're just going to do that. Doesn't matter how long we run, doesn't matter kind of how far we go. We're just going to build the habit and start that habit, and we're going to stick to it. We have to stick to it because it's that consistency that is super, super important. If down the line in 6 months' time, you miss one run because you can't make it or the weather's really terrible, that doesn't matter as much because you've built that habit, and you'll find yourself being drawn to do it. And you'll also find literally within a few weeks, because of neuroplasticity, because of our brain's amazing ability to regenerate and recreate itself and build new architecture, within a few weeks, you won't even be thinking about the actual, oh man, I have to wake up and go for a run. You will just be going for a run. Like, you'll just wake up and you'll go for a run. It'd be part of your routine, part of your habit, and you'll stop thinking about it as much. And that's how you can start building that progress onto those things. And this applies to every single aspect of kind of your life. So every single positive habit you want to build is small incremental changes done as often as possible, which is one of the reasons we've changed the name of the podcast to one brain at a time, one brain at a time, because it's like, it's one step at a time. Everything, you can do anything you want to do with your brain. You can be a happy person, you can be a more successful person, you can do all this stuff. It's all to do with incremental change for your brain, because the neuroplasticity, your brain will change depending on what you do with it. So if you do positive things every single day, you'll feel better, but also your brain will be developing itself and growing itself in a really, really positive way, which sets you up super well for the future.
And I think, there's further elements to this, which is adversity and resilience, right? So when you're doing this incremental change and it's slow and you don't see progress as readily as you might have
Sure.
hoped, like that's when that's when people give up their New Year's resolutions. 2, 3 weeks in, when you're like, I'm doing it, I'm getting myself up at 5 in the morning to go for a run before work.
Yes.
I'm knackered. I haven't seen loads of progress. I don't necessarily feel much better for it yet because that habit hasn't formed still. It's in those moments that, well, if you've been practicing 12 rocks, your ability to minimize cognitive distortions, your ability to show that resilience and improve your executive functioning skills, if you're doing those right things, you are more likely to be an individual that can overcome that challenge, overcome that adversity, and show that resilience. That's why all this
Mm.
stuff is so intertwined, because you have to have such a level of discipline where you're like, all right, this is difficult, a challenge, horrible, gruesome, but I'm going to still do it anyway because I know it's
Mm.
going to be for the betterment of myself. I know that I'm going to stick to this goal. And that's why the manageable goals that we set ourselves are important, because if you set yourself a goal that isn't manageable, you're going to find it really easy to just pack it in, knock it
Exactly.
on head early doors. So, all about the adversity of it. And I just looked at people I know in my life, and I just mentioned my brother. Like he will be up at 5 o'clock every day, going to the gym. He'll run to the gym, about a 7K run there, 7K run back, smash the gym, then works off all day. And like I spoke to him about it. He was like, "No, man, I hated it for about 6 months. It was
Mm.
it was it was
Yeah.
grueling, absolutely grueling." And I think, mate, that's 6 months of your life where you've like battled and overcome to a place now where you're like the happiest I've seen you, and you're
Mm.
flying, you're thriving, man. It's impacted in positively in every way possible. And that's an extreme example. You do not have to get up at 5 every morning and run 7.5K to the gym to run back and then what, like,
Mm.
that's not what we're saying, but for him, that's what works for him. But like, it's so individualized. If yours is, all right, my New Year's resolution, I'll work zero point 0.8 miles away. It's a 5 minute drive, but it'd be a 25, 30 minute walk. And you say, I want to walk more.
Yeah.
Great. Walk to work. That's excellent. Like, it don't matter what your goal is, just making it manageable, making it achievable. What's the benefit for you? And if that benefit outweighs the challenge, you're going to carry on because
Mm.
you're going to feel it, you're going to see it, but you have to stick with it. You have
You
to
have to stick
show
with
that
it.
you can overcome challenge, man.
Exactly. And
Develop
also, I
that positive
think
habit.
for sure, and I think also setting a kind of an open-ended goal with the understanding that like you're not gonna just stop at that point. You know, you've done all this
100%.
work to build this super positive habit, whatever it is, this change that you've wanted for a long time, and then you've reached the goal you've set, and then you're like, okay, pack the bags up, done with that now. Like set up an open-ended one, it's like, then it's like understanding that it's going to continue and you're going to continue to develop
Yeah,
that. It's not like you have 1 year to do all these things and then the next year you have to do a completely different set of things.
exactly.
Hopefully the
Exactly.
things you do this year, if you've set resolutions, you think you should, um, that they continue through next year. You learn from the ones you
Yeah.
do this year, the mistakes you make, or the things you'll enjoy and don't enjoy, so that next year you can make more informed ones about certain things and stuff like that. Like to bring it back to the marathon one, like run a marathon, great. After your marathon, are you going to just stop running completely? Probably not. If you've done all the work to become a runner, you've built that habit in, you're probably going to continue being a runner. So it's like, okay, fine. Then you start to work on different goals. But that's a fantastic product of doing those small changes every single day, building that progress up and becoming, a different version of yourself. Because what you're fundamentally doing in build a habit is you're changing your brain. You're changing your neurochemistry in your brain, which changes your mind, which changes the person you are every single day. Like the way the things you do every single day affect the person you are on that day and the day after. And by building these positive habits, you're probably going to find yourself, being, if it's a fitness habit, healthy habit, and stuff like that, sticking with it, you'll find yourself being maybe, physically healthier, feeling fitter, but also you'll find yourself emotionally more available to people. You'll find yourself easier to, just probably less stress, more relaxed, like all of these positive things we want to feel as well. And it's understanding that it's all in that small incremental change, those small formations of habits, as you were saying.
Definitely,
And
man.
it's about sticking to it. It's not about enjoyment necessarily at the start, especially like
Mhm.
just get on the habit, work on it every single day until there's a day where you realize you've been doing it and you have done it on autopilot, like driving to work. You do it automatically now.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. It's like, it's done automatically. It's the same with fitness routines, running routines, whatever, brushing your teeth, journaling, reading books, like it's just become something you do so readily that you don't even realize you're doing it. You just are doing it. And that's where you want to be. But you have to just put in the hard yards of forcing yourself to do a habit. And it helps to do the same thing every single day. So if it's a run, 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, we're going to run every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Every Saturday at 9 a.m. we're going to run as well. Like 2 days, those are that times we run every time. It just makes it easier for your brain to plan for that thing, and also for you to stick to it, because it's a very, very specific set target, specific set goal that you can actually achieve. Just final point I want to make is that I think there's an arbitrariness to like New Year's resolutions as a whole. I feel like I'm someone who I like New Year's resolutions because I'm the kind of person, I think that comes across as the kind of person who's like, yeah, self-improvement, like that's all we're about here. But I think that there's a problem with like talking about it as a way of like every year you can become a new version of yourself. I think is a little bit fake, because we talk about the temporal self all the time, which is that you are currently your present self listening to this. All you can do about your past experiences is learn from them. You can't change them. But what you do today does to affect your future self, right? But that isn't unique about New Year's Day and the build up to New Year's Day. That is applicable at all times, obviously, So in 6 months' time, you can not build any habits, positive changes, habits like that until 6 months' time. And then in whatever 6 months' time will be, June, you're like, actually, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. There's no reason why that's not fine too, There's no reason why it has to be done at the start of the year, that it has to be, and if you fail within the first month, you have to wait. And I know that sounds stupid, but some people genuinely are like, oh, I'll just give up and I'll fall into the same routines and same habits. Because the thing we need to understand about the way that we are every single day is that you don't even realize it, but you've got a bunch of habits. They might not be positive habits. A self-defeating belief habit. If you don't believe you can do something, you try a New Year's resolution, you kind of fail at it and you give up on it. You are reinforcing a habit there, a habit of I can't change things, understanding that no matter what, you've got a bunch of habits. We can change those habits and change those routines to be ones that are more positive, that make us feel better, or we can not, but we have the agency to do that. And it's about choosing every single day to try and make those positive changes. Don't limit it to New Year's resolutions, do it all year round. In 6 months' time, if you've done a resolution for 6 months and you're like, actually, you know what, I think I don't enjoy this resolution. Okay, change the resolution. You've learned a lot about yourself, and you've learned that you can continue with something. Exactly. And you've had a go at it, and that's brilliant. But you don't have to just stick with things you don't like just because it's an arbitrary, like, I must do this for 2026. Like, that's all a load of nonsense, if you ask me. So
spot on, man. And just the last bit from me then, like what you said, growth affirming beliefs, growth defeating beliefs. Growth affirming, I can. Growth defeating, I can't. And the power of both of those is huge, and it's something that we know, something we understand, falls back into our sort of manifesting to some extent and saying, if you say you can't, you probably won't.
Exactly, and that's why manifesting can work, because it's a belief system. Our brain works in belief systems, right? If you believe saying something in the mirror to yourself is going to do the act of saying something in the mirror to yourself doesn't do anything. What you are doing there is creating a growth affirming belief, which is going to make it easier for your brain to actually change. Pretty good episode to start the year with, if you ask me.
Beautiful.
But yes, thank you very much for listening. We want to hear from you, so please email us at adamwright@ayp.co.uk and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and watch the full episodes on YouTube. You can have a look at my very blurred background and Andy's very blurred background on YouTube. That's fun, isn't it? Super fun.
Big year for the podcast. Big year for the company.
We're going to be competing with what's his name,
Alistair
Stephen Bartlett.
Rory.
At the end of the year. We're going to be fighting them off. You're
going to see us in that top 10 very soon.
Exactly. Watch out, mate. Watch out. And also help us get to that top 10 by sharing it if you enjoy the show with your friends. And yes, thank you very much for listening. And we will see you all bright and early next Monday. Take care.
Bye.